Giants, Leviathans, and beasts. Oh my! We are getting biblical today as we cover the top 10 biblical creatures scarier than the devil. Starting off at our number 10 spot, we have the Behemoth. One of the oldest books in the Bible is Job, and within this book there is a gigantic and powerful creature called the Behemoth. In the book, the Behemoth is described as a powerful grass-eating animal whose, quote, bones are tubes of bronze, his limbs like bars of iron. This creature is so large it is described as having a tail that moves like a cedar, and this creature is only able to be tamed by God. One weird thing about this creature is that they really make sure to mention that it has a belly button. Not entirely sure why that was important, but they made it very clear. It is said that in Jewish tradition this creature is a primal earth monster as well as a symbol of chaos. In our number 9 spot today we have the first beast. This creature is so named because he is quite literally the first beast that is mentioned in Revelation, and everyone just felt like that summed it up well. This creature really is a beast, however, as being described with 7 heads and 10 horns as he rises up out of the ocean. I'm just saying, the Loch Ness Monster sounded creepy until I heard about this guy. This creature doesn't just have way too many heads and horns, however, no, of course not. He also has the mouth of a lion, the feet of a bear, and is said to have the body of a leopard. Imagine a lion, bear, leopard with 7 heads coming out of the ocean. Like, absolutely. No thank you. In our number 8 spot today we have the second beast. Okay, we talked about the first, so of course we also have to talk about the second as well. This beast, rather than rising from the ocean, shows up as he rises from the earth. Rather than 10 horns, this one's only got 2, but he also speaks like a dragon. The jury is out on what exactly that means, but I saw the dragons on Game of Thrones. I'm not too keen on any of those guys speaking to me. Basically, the whole job of this creature is that he can sort of perform these false miracles that drive people to worship the first beast, and if they don't worship the first beast, well, then he can kill them. I mean, sounds scary enough to me. In our number 7 spot today we have Leviathan. No, for once I am not talking about the prehistoric sea monster, and instead talking about the biblical creature that inspired its namesake. The Leviathan was a sea serpent monster who had more than one head, which seems to be a sort of theme we're seeing. This is a beast of chaos who is able to be defeated at the hands of God, as said in Isaiah 27:1. In that day the Lord will punish Leviathan, the fleeing serpent, with his fierce and great and mighty sword, even Leviathan the twisted serpent, and he will kill the dragon who lives in the sea. Many people believe that the many stories of the Leviathan that are seen in the Bible are actually what inspired the tall tales and legends of a sea serpent monster. In our number 6 spot today we have Locusts. If you're new here, there's only one thing you need to know about me, and it's that I absolutely hate bugs. They're gross, they're creepy, they freak me out. But these guys in particular, locusts, well, they truly are something else. In Revelations 9:3-10 it reads, "Then from the smoke came locusts on the earth, and they were given power like the power of scorpions of the earth. They were allowed to torment them for 5 months, but not to kill them, and their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when it stings someone. In appearance, the locusts were like horses prepared for battle. On their heads were what looked like crowns of gold. Their faces were like human faces." As one of the 10 plagues in the Bible, I ask, where does it end? This sounds like a true nightmare. And listen, we've fairly recently seen devastating swarms of locusts that caused a ton of damage, like in 2016 in Russia or 2020 in India. In our number 5 spot today we have Cherubim. When we think of cherubs, we normally think of like a kind of Cupid type character, like a sweet little baby angel flying around. You know, nice stuff. Turns out, however, that is not at all what these babies are described as being. In Ezekiel 1:5-11 it says, "As I looked, behold, a stormy wind came out of the north, and a great cloud with brightness around it, and fire flashing forth continually, and in the midst of the fire as it were gleaming metal. And from the midst of it came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had human likeness, but each had 4 faces, and each of them had 4 wings. Their legs were straight, and the soles of their feet were like the soles of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like burnished bronze. Under their wings on their 4 sides they had human hands, and the 4 had their faces and their wings thus. Their wings touched one another. Each one of them went straight forward without turning as they went. As for the likeness of their faces, each had a human face. The 4 had the face of a lion on the right side, the 4 had the face of an ox on the left side, and the 4 had the face of an eagle." evil. Such were their faces. I'm not sure where we got the flying baby idea from, but honestly it seems to be a lot better than whatever those creatures would look like. In our number 4 spot today we have giants. I don't know about you, but anything just exceedingly large I personally think would be terrifying. There are tons of mentions of giants in the Bible, with the most famous probably being Goliath. Samuel 17:1-58 says, "And there came out from the camp of the Philistines a champion named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a helmet of bronze on his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of bronze." There is even the mention of the Amorites, a race of giants, 80 different times. People who study the Bible estimate that the heights of these guys would have been somewhere from 6 to 30 feet, but some mentions claim that these giants were as tall as cedars, which could make them somewhere from 50 to 100 feet tall. Either way, it's safe to say they were towering and terrifying. In our number 3 spot today we have dragons. I already mentioned the Game of Thrones dragons on here, so really, need I say more? Dragons are mentioned several times in the Bible, and they're actually thought to be a creature that came from crocodiles. Dragons are a terrifying piece of mythology seen in many different ancient texts and cultures, which begs the question as to how and why. Well, many people think that dragons just might be an attempt at giving an explanation to dinosaur fossils that could have been found at the time. At the end of the day, it probably would have been more shocking if these creatures weren't mentioned at all, considering how they were a part of mythology at the time. In our number 2 spot today we have the 4 beasts. We had the first and second beast, and now we have the 4 beasts. I mean, come on. These names are starting to get a little confusing, but to be fair, these beasts are certainly ones that are hard to forget. In the book of Daniel, he himself has a vision of 4 beasts which are said to represent the 4 empires. All 4 of them emerge from the sea and are full of destruction and chaos. They run amok with power, leaving violence in their wake, but alas, they eventually pass from the earth. The first of the 4 is described as being a sort of cross between an eagle and a lion. The next is said to look like a bear who is hungry for flesh. The third is a leopard creature that has 4 wings and 4 heads. The final beast is definitely the most terrifying of all, and is actually said to be the destroyer of the world in the vision that Daniel has. This beast is said to have 10 horns as well as teeth made from iron. In our number 1 spot today we have vampires. We aren't talking about Edward and Bella today, we are going to real creepy vampires who don't sparkle in the sunlight. Honestly, I was surprised to find out that there are vampires in the Bible, but according to Proverbs 30:14, there are those whose teeth are swords, whose fangs are knives, to devour the poor from off the earth, the needy from among mankind. It is said that there are about 50 different biblical verses that are said to either be about vampires or at least that have vampiric imagery. Many people claim that these passages have nothing to do with actual vampires, but I think that's safe to say about pretty much any of the monsters on this list today. There's just a lot of mention of blood drinking in the Bible, which many people connect to Satan himself. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I'll see you next time. Bye!